All right. Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. It is Sunday, January the 12th, and I hope you are having a great day, no matter what you're doing. Relaxing with friends or family, working out, hanging out by yourself, whatever it might be. I hope you're enjoying your day, and you're achieving what you want to, of course. So, I want to make another video today, kind of in relation to a previous video that I uploaded and an additional story that I kind of want to expand on as well. So I made a video over a month ago now in regards to quitting weed after 7 years of daily smoking. Now I've had tons of feedback, at least for what I would call tons of feedback. I'm sure anyone who watches or looks at my profile realizes that I am very new to this industry still, or just YouTube uploading content, whatever it might be in that case. So I mean, it's cool to see that many people interacting with my videos, the comments, the feedback, whether it be positive, negative, or kind of just up in the air. I've definitely received a lot, and I appreciate everybody who's just interacted with my videos. So thank you. If you do find my content interesting or anything that I post interesting, I mean, feel free to leave a comment, to leave a like, and subscribe. It is free, of course, at the end of the day, and it would be cool to see where I can take this channel. So I do appreciate any of you that stopped by on it in the first place. But yeah, I mean, I'm not a guru of drugs in that case. I'm pretty much just a 27-year-old guy who's had experiences growing up, going to a bigger city for college, having friends in, I guess, kind of different friend groups, people who were a little bit more low-key, people who like to party, people who play sports, just like a lot of you, I'm sure, out there did as well. And to tie into the video that I made about smoking weed, or at least quitting smoking weed, there was a catalyst to that as well. Something that really kind of shook me up, that made me want to stop consuming drugs specifically, for one. And I mean, I still drink alcohol now and then. I don't like to get smashed. I try to have, know my limit and play within it, kind of thing. So I might have a couple drinks on the weekend, but I certainly don't get drunk like I used to when I was 19 or 20 in college, or even my early 20s. But being 27 now, I'd like to think that I've matured a little bit, and I'm making some better decisions for a younger guy who has a career and priorities that have to be done before kind of having fun in that case. But yeah, I have done psychedelics a couple times, specifically shrooms. And again, I'm not a guru when it comes to drugs. These are my personal experiences, my personal life experience in general. And the reason I make these videos is to share it. Hopefully it finds the right people. Hopefully it hits home for some people. If you feel like you've had similar experiences or are in a similar mindset and you need to hear something from somebody else or whatever it might be, I hope this helps. Or if you find it interesting, again, hopefully it is interesting for whatever time you spend watching this video. But it was a couple summers ago now where I more so started trying shrooms. I thought it would be an interesting thing after like reading a lot of different articles or watching some podcasts of some more famous people like Joe Rogan. I'm sure some of you have probably watched some of his content, but a lot of people have come on podcasts and speak about how psychedelics can be this awakening, this spiritual awakening, or help them in certain avenues with like trauma or stuff like that. And me and a good friend of mine at the time decided to, well, I mean, he's done them before. He's a little bit older, but I decided to say kind of like, screw it, why not? I'll try taking these shrooms too. Not again knowing variations of shrooms or stuff like that, but yeah, I did them once. And again, this was probably 2.5, almost 3 years ago now in the summertime. Did them at his house both times. The first time, it was really interesting. I felt like it was just like I couldn't stop laughing. It was a pretty cool experience. I was like, okay, this isn't like that like extreme. Some people have wild experiences. Mine was pretty tame, and again, I didn't take too much. I don't remember the amount, but it was like 2 or 3 like actual like mushroom size kind of shrooms. And yeah, I mean, again, like it was pretty interesting. Like I was laughing a lot. I couldn't stop laughing. I felt a little bit like sick the next day. I didn't really feel the best. I felt really groggy and kind of out of it. Just like some other types of drugs, they bring your dopamine levels way up, and then you crash super hard the next day, and you kind of feel like depressed almost, and that's the feeling that I got. So for me, it was like an okay experience, and I was like, would I ever do them again? Maybe in the right situation. And then essentially the year later, in the summertime again, I said, you know, screw it, I'll try it again with him. Did them at his house again, and this time took quite a bit more. His girlfriend was around as well. I don't know if she had any, but maybe she did. But I mean, from my recollection, I remember me and him, we ate quite a few. And I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm 7'9", probably around 165 pounds, pretty lean. And he was a bigger guy. He's over 6 foot and pretty fit as well. Like goes to the gym every day and that kind of thing. But anyhow, not that's the whole point of the video, but consumed way more than I did the previous summer in hopes of having a more kind of an awakening experience. That's what I was going for, essentially, to have that kind of like trip that people talk about. And I can certainly assure you that I did. I remember walking outside, it was probably like 1 a.m. in the morning with him and just looking around at the trees and stuff, and like I could literally like see like numbers coming out of like tree leaves and like really crazy stuff. Like I know some people say that you can't get those trips from shrooms, but I can assure you whatever versions of shrooms I took were pretty strong. I saw some wild shit, or at least obviously my perception of what I was seeing at that point. And everything was going pretty great until the following morning when I woke up. It was probably 8 a.m. by the time I kind of got up, and I barely slept, maybe 2 or 3 hours. Those of you who've done psychedelics probably know that it's super hard to actually fall asleep after because you're so awake and it's almost uncomfortable to try to fall asleep. You can't really get into like a sleep state. So yeah, I mean, 7:30, 8 a.m. rolls around, and I was like, okay, I feel actually not too shabby. I drank a lot of water. I thought I'd pack my stuff up. Him and his girlfriend were still sleeping. And he also had a buddy who lived with him at the time at that property as well. But he was out the previous night partying. So we assumed that he wouldn't be home, or at least would be drunk and come home in a cab sometime like 8, 9 kind of thing as well. But anyhow, so the morning goes on. I pack my stuff up into my car, go in for my last like duffel bag, whatever I had my clothes in at the time. And the last thing I remember is essentially opening my trunk one more time and putting my bag in, and from there was just blackout. Complete blackout. Again, I don't remember, so I couldn't explain to you what happened in that situation, but I remember waking up on the ground in his driveway. I felt off. I felt like there was something wrong. I was like, why am I laying down? I felt this kind of immense throbbing pain coming from my head. And I couldn't figure out what happened. So my initial reaction was to kind of like go like this and rub my head. And I noticed when I put my hand back in front of my face, it was pretty much covered in blood. So from there, I started to kind of panic a bit. I was like, what's going on? Like, what the fuck just happened? Why is my hand probably covered in blood? So I eventually rolled myself over, and like, don't get me wrong, like this wasn't happening in slow motion to me. So again, I went from blacking out to waking up, I think about 5 minutes later, and everything was just like really odd to me. I probably still had the shrooms in my system, so I was probably still out of it and loopy. And again, I kept checking my head, and I was like, fuck, like my head really hurts and there's blood, so like I probably scratched my head, or like maybe have like a little cut or something like that, and something's wrong. But by the time I rolled over onto my side and looked back at where my head was, there was a pool of blood probably like this big. And again, I'm not over exaggerating. Unfortunately, I didn't take a picture of where the blood was, but I do have pictures of the crack in my head that I ended up getting, and I will tag them probably somewhere in this corner here in the next few seconds, or at least in this video, so you guys kind of see what I'm talking about. But yeah, pretty much what happened is I blacked out, I should say, and I ended up splitting my head open. Kind of around the crown of my head back here. The gash was probably about like this big, about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches long. I had some bruising on my actual skull and a little bit on the inside of the skull, which I wouldn't say I had bruising on my brain, but who knows. I ended up getting to the hospital. His buddy actually came home from the night before of his party that he went to. Luckily, he didn't come home drunk. He didn't drink at all, so he could take me to the hospital. But long story short, got to the hospital, got stitches, had to get a tetanus shot as well, which was a terrible experience into itself. I didn't have one in a while, so my body reacted badly to it, and I was so fucking sore the next couple days. Like, not even a couple days. From the tetanus shot alone, I felt like I was hit by a truck. Now, for those of you who don't believe me, if you look up some adverse side effects of tetanus shots, they can actually do that to people. So it's not everybody that has these side effects, but for me that time didn't help that I cracked my head open, but it was a really shitty experience. I lost all sense of taste and smell for about 3 to 4 months. I shit you not, I could not taste anything from as potent as vinegar to as sweet as sugar or honey or anything like that. So food for me and life was just weird. Like, it literally was life hitting me in the head, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. Thank God that I didn't have, serious damage to my brain or cause hearing or sight or anything issues, but I was definitely concussed. Again, from the bruising that I had around my skull, the doctor did say that there's probably something bruised on that part of my brain that is causing me to have those sensory issues. But yeah, long story short, that's a summary to kind of another experience of doing drugs, of why I had my catalyst to stopping smoking weed as well, because the morning that I did pass out, I'd actually had a puff of a joint, thinking that it would help me sober up. So that's kind of how I'm tying things together, if that makes sense for any of you out there, and I hope it does. But that's ultimately my experience with, again, why I made the video about quitting weed, no matter what other people have feedback over, and obviously not really doing any other drugs as well. So I know some psychedelics could be beneficial to some. Doing some type of shrooms, like a lion's mane mushroom, something that's not actually psychedelic, for example, is very beneficial to people. But the choices that I made essentially had life kick me in the ass, and in this case, literally in the head. And because of the elongated period of time of which I could not smell and taste for, the cause and effect that it had on me was very negative. And the fact that it was like a learning lesson, it's like life was coming to me at a time where I was kind of going through some stuff as well. And I was still doing good, I think, but maybe I'm in a better position now. Financially, health-wise, and a lot of other things as well, but and happy, of course. But life literally like kicked me down and brought me to the point of which I could have been extremely injured. As dumb as that sounds, like I literally just fell back. And again, I don't remember exactly how it happened. Maybe if I hit my friend's car first and then hit the ground, the concrete, whatever it might have been. Something happened in that period of time where my head cracked open. And although I didn't split my skull and my brains were hanging out, it was enough to cause those elongated side effects, and in turn turn me off from drugs in general. So I hope this video in summary can give the experience that some people can maybe not relate with hopefully injuries, but at least if you're interested in trying psychedelics, know the potential side effects. And for my experience, don't mix drugs like that. Like, don't mix a mushroom and weed. They clearly have a really profound effect, and at least for me, again, you make your own choices. This is my experience, but that's essentially why I made that video about stopping smoking weed. So I thought I would jump on here and explain in more detail about my other drug experience, which was, again, taking mushrooms and having some serious bodily harm done to me and done to myself by my own wrongdoing. So again, I thank God and I prayed very much that I was not seriously injured more than that and had any type of long-term injuries. But yeah, I appreciate everybody who listens to my videos, likes, comments, any feedback. I would love to hear from you if you had similar experiences. And again, this is just more so kind of a video about my experience with additional kind of like drug use, recreational drug use, and it's not all fun and games. We live in a world where I think a lot of stuff is glorified and it's so easy to get access to, and people take it lightly. But I did that, and I learned from experience that like that stuff is serious. No matter if it's a fun kind of party drug or it's just a leisure drug, whatever it might be, it can have profound effects on you that you don't even realize in the moment. And I didn't think I was going to wake up and then crack my head open and then, have no taste or smell for 3 or 4 months. Not even, like, I actually came to the conclusion that I would not have my taste and smell anymore. The doctor even said that I would need to go back to the hospital to get another scan to ensure that I didn't have serious damage done to nerves or have like a cyst or some type of additional bleeding in the brain or something like that. That'd be a lot worse than what I initially got scanned. But I got all my tests done, everything was done, and everything still checks out that I'm okay in this case. But certainly a changed guy. Would never touch mushrooms again. I really don't think I'd ever touch weed again, as much as it still appeals to me to some degree. I don't think I would ever go down those paths again based off my experience. So I'll wrap up this video here. I can see it's almost at 17 minutes, so I hope some of you find some benefit and want to listen to me ramble on. But other than that, yeah, that's my experience with mushrooms, and again, why it was a catalyst to me stopping smoking weed as well. So I hope this finds the right people. I hope you find this content interesting. I hope this is a video that at least is of some benefit to somebody out there. And I'd love to hear again your comments and feedback and some love when it comes to liking the video and hopefully subscribing as well. So other than that, I hope you enjoy the rest of your Sunday or your Monday whenever you're viewing this video. Cheers to your success as always, and remember that the only limitations that you have in your life are the ones that you set for yourself. So realize that God has given you every tool that you need to succeed in the ways that you want to. Go out there and get it. Ask for it, pray for it, talk to people about it, the right people. Don't tell your ideas to just anybody. Keep that sacred to yourself. Write it down. And stay healthy, stay happy, and try to avoid regular drug use or even drinking. I don't think any of that is necessarily good when you abuse it. So just have fun, do what you know is right for you, and don't hold back from the lifestyle that you want. So go out there and have a great day, a great night, and a great week ahead of you. And again, cheers to your success, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care.